today I'm pleased to announce that my guest is a great friend of mine and a friend to the podcast, Zack Tidwell. Zack, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm excited to be back. So thank you for having me again.
Well, I'm
It's,
excited to have you, buddy. It's been a while since we've seen each other. I think the last time was out in Tucson.
yeah, and I think that was probably a year and a half ago.
Yeah,
So it's
so
it's
it's
been a
been a
minute.
while.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, as the kids would say, it's been a minute.
Yes, sir.
So tell us, what have you been up to in that minute?
I've been up, gosh, because I'm you and I met, I think, after I came on here. I feel like maybe I'm
Yeah, we did.
misremembering. Okay. So
We met in
I
person after.
yeah, so I've written a book, which is now I am working with an editor now to get it published. I've already written three drafts of it. I just started draft four. I started a new business and have been working on, for I guess people who didn't hear the first conversation we had since losing my sight, I taught myself how to code so I could create accessible software that everyone could use, whether they have a disability or not. And I won a couple of awards for my work. But that first piece of software that I won some awards for was a proof of concept for me to make sure that I could handle the entire development process, including the visuals. So I've been
Right.
rolling all of those approaches and strategies and design principles that I learned in doing that into something that will hopefully be a lot more impactful as both for people with disabilities, but also used by people without, just like everything else that I've done. I'm very intentional about making it not just specific to people with disabilities, but instead giving us the same access to everything that people without disabilities have.
Well, why don't we remind my listeners exactly how you ended up here? Give them some background of who you are, where you came from.
So I'm 29 years old now. I'm a Marine Corps veteran. And in 2019, so about 6.5 years ago, I reached a point where I didn't want to be alive anymore. It was a bad combination of personal circumstances, a traumatic brain injury from a motorcycle accident during those personal circumstances, and then really just a lack of healthy coping skills and an unwillingness to speak up. So that combination lasted for about a year until March of 31st of 2019 when I shot myself in the face in an attempt to kill myself. So that left me completely blind and deaf in one ear, amongst some other complications like needing to have my face rebuilt and all that fun stuff. But I've it's been to getting to where I am now has been a very messy road. I'm in a good spot now, but there was 2.5 years of horrendous alcoholism during my recovery. I'm almost 2 years sober now. While I was trying to get sober, I was actually diagnosed with a deadly, incurable genetic disease that I inherited that will, barring that there are no medical advancements, will eventually reduce me to a vegetative state before something else kills me. But along with all of that, again, I've come full circle and have been able to, in putting in the work over the last several years, because I had never dealt with my depression until I had a bullet hole in my forehead. I was kind of forced to at that point. But it's been a lot of intentional work since then because I've kept showing up over the past 6.5 years that I've developed the coping skills and gotten through all of this stuff and grown as a man to where I am in a good spot doing all of this stuff and now getting into I've been doing a lot of public speaking lately and also I've got my own podcast that is I'm trying to have a lot of these tougher conversations centered around bigger picture things that leave people thinking and hopefully also expose people to lessons in other people's lives that they can abstract into their own.
Right.
And I'm also an adaptive athlete. I ski and rock climb and whitewater kayak and compete in Brazilian jiu-jitsu against people without disabilities and surf and all sorts of other stuff. So I'm just trying to show people in a bunch of different ways that there is always a way forward, but you have to choose to sometimes make that path for yourself.
Right. Well, I commend you for that, brother. You are setting a fine example out there. That's for sure. And
Thank you.
tell us a little bit more about the podcast. It's called Going In Blind. Is that right?
Yep, it's Going In Blind with Zack Tidwell. And I've been, I started recording last December. Episode 52 will come out tomorrow. Episodes come out every Monday and on the first Thursday of each month as well. So 5 episodes a month, and it's rolling. There's a website called Listen Notes, and it is now ranked as a top 10% podcast in the world on there. I don't know how, like, where those rankings come from on there, but it's supposedly in the top 10%. I don't know, again, what the foundations of those ratings are, but it's growing. I've had an incredibly broad spectrum of guests on so far, and that is continuing.
Yeah, I noticed you have everything from um, blind water skiers or blind mountain climbers to a CEO of a major company. I mean, and they're not all blind, right?
Almost none of them are blind. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I've had three blind veterans on. Those are the only visually impaired people that I've had on so far. It's not to say that I will have other blind people on at some point, but I'm intentionally trying to stay really broad. So I've had everything from I actually just interviewed the creator of Siri, like Siri that is on your iPhone, and is
Hmm.
really he actually had a direct hand in the foundational technologies that are we're actually seeing kind of culminating to create the different feature sets of these large language models today. So he's had a direct hand in AI since I think it was 1993 is when he had the first idea for Siri. And it's just,
Hmm.
that is definitely the biggest guess that I've had in the professional world. But
Right.
there's a lot of people kind of pushing the bounds of human limits that I've had on, and starting to have more researchers and psychologists and creators. And just yeah, the other blind veterans that I've had on are Lonnie Bedwell, Steve Baskus, and Brian O'Connell
Right.
so far. But
All
yeah,
three of my friends.
yep, a bunch of studs. So that's why they were on. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I'm really shocked and hurt that I haven't been asked to be on either.
You're not handsome enough, Ray.
Oh, darn it. Well, I can't change that.
Yeah. So
I
it's
was born
been
this way, as Lady Gaga would say.
yeah, it's been really cool. I'm hoping to get I'm again, I'm intentionally going very broad. This is all I'm a very curious person. I know you and I have talked about that. You are too, and that's why you do podcasting and I do too. I've just taken
Yeah.
it to I'm following my curiosity and all these different things and these
Right.
different areas of research and just human accomplishment, and then specifically innovation, man. All of it just kind of pulls at my own brain strings where I get sucked in, and I want to pick these people's brains and see what makes them tick.
Right.
And I think on the side of, getting people on for their own accomplishments or own things that they've overcome and then gone on to accomplish things despite the things that they've overcome, is just I think that level of vulnerability that pulls out of people is how other people can grow. Like, because it's not, we may not be able to relate to, I shot myself in the face and I'm totally blind and deaf in one ear, or, with Steve getting blown up or Lonnie getting shot in a hunting
Right.
accident or whatever. But there's these narrative threads that come up in so many of these stories. And because of my story, mental health comes up a lot. So you see a lot of these common trends, either in talking about that or addiction, that I think kind of, or at least hope that kind of makes light bulbs go off in people who, in the minds of people who are experiencing those things and haven't started to make progress on them or haven't
Right.
started to see a way out. I think that's very powerful.
Well, I think when you're trapped in those situations, um, you feel like you're hopeless. There's nothing you can do to get out. And so you continue the process. You just keep doing what you're doing and you don't try to change yourself. But if you see someone like yourself or the guests that you have on that are making a difference and trying to move on with their lives, that might give you hope that there is a way to get out of what you're in, the situation that you're in. Correct?
Yeah, I mean, that applies. It's not just applicable to mental health. That is very fitting for addiction too. And whatever that addiction is, that can be something as severe as alcohol or worse, you know. So
Right.
there's it could be abusing. Like when I went to rehab, there was a kid there who was using fentanyl was his go-to for a thing like
Whoa.
that. It can be that, or it can be as simple as a lot of people in this country and around the world, at least in developed countries, are addicted to food, man. And it can be something that is less overtly destructive, I guess. And but yeah, it is this pattern or this groove that you've fallen into, and maybe either sometimes not recognizing that the issue is there, or like specifically like you said, is the lack of hope. But you do like I couldn't tell. Maybe I read into what you said a little too much there. Did you ever struggle with addiction at all?
Alcohol, yeah.
Okay.
I struggle with that. And if you want to consider it food, yeah. It's I do tend to overeat a lot, but it's because I like food.
Do you feel, is it because you like food or because that's a different thing than I'm eating to suppress other feelings, yeah, or
Right.
not to
No,
suppress
I don't do that.
yeah.
It's yeah, I don't use it as a crutch. It's just I like to eat and I like good food.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like bad food, but
It's hard not to like good food.
it is.
Uh, you're, I can't, you live in California, don't you?
No, Illinois.
Illinois. Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
I was way
Right
off.
by St. Louis, actually.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. What kind of junk do you guys have? Like, what's the big thing out there?
Out here,
Yeah. Like
oh
food
man,
wise,
we got
cuisine.
great Italian food close by.
Hmm.
Then there's all the chain restaurants too, but I mean, as far as mom and pop restaurants, I would have to say over in St. Louis, which is about 15 to 20 minutes away, we go over and we get some really good Italian food on the hill. That's
Mm.
a area of St. Louis that's immigrated by Italians. So they have all these mom and pop restaurants there. Awesome food.
It's just dangerous,
Oh
dangerous
yeah,
Italian food.
it is. I love it though. I mean, they have homemade raviolis, and St. Louis is noted for their toasted raviolis. I think it's one of the
Okay.
only places in the country where you can get them and get good ones anyway.
Yeah. I went to Italy earlier this year and I've
Oh,
never been a
nice.
big pasta person, but that it's different when you're there. It was
Right.
just
Well, they
it
serve pasta with everything, don't they?
yeah, I mean they will all tell you like we eat this every day, but it is you hear people always talk about like, when you eat pasta there, you don't feel like garbage afterwards, and that
Yeah.
is accurate. It's
I think it's the,
their go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, I think it's their noodles. It's the way their noodles are made.
It's everything. They're not it's not over processed. Their wheat
Right.
isn't covered in glyphosate and all the other ridiculously toxic chemicals that we allow into our food
Right.
system here that are illegal in other countries. But it's yeah, and like I went to two pasta making classes while I was there. They use their wheat, egg, and water. Like that's all that's in
That's
their
it.
pasta. Yeah. It was incredible, man. I love specifically, obviously, the food. The food is motivating to go anywhere
Yeah.
when you travel, but also when you can go to these places and find a good guided tour where it is an individual, it is your group of whoever you're traveling with and the tour guide, not some giant group thing where everyone's wearing these little headsets to be able to listen to the tour guide. It is
Right.
just it's it's something it has me so hooked. Like it's been this I wanted to travel my whole life and like now I'm getting to do it and it's been so cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you would definitely recommend Italy.
Yes, it was I went to Florence and Siena. Florence felt like an American city. I could I'd be happy never going back to Florence, not because it was bad, just because it wasn't. I it didn't feel unique. Siena was this still very medieval, like the layout of the city was still medieval. It was cobblestone streets and
Right.
built up on this hill. And you walk through the buildings. There's no sidewalks. It's street immediately, house on the one on either side, and just
Wow.
it was this very and the it was interesting. They've had these neighborhoods there that are like each neighborhood has its own mascot. I think that city had 17 of these little specific neighborhoods and their own regions within the city, and they have it so that there's constant, competitions between the different districts or
Uh-huh.
different, today, okay, the Flamingo district or whatever is going out there having a parade with this drum crew and all sorts of other stuff. And it's like this pride, even in like there's on such a micro level in this small city. I've never seen that anywhere else. It was so cool to be able to experience that. Like that is somewhere, if you go to Italy, absolutely go to Siena.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I don't see Italy in my future, or my immediate future anyway, but hopefully sometime in my future.
Have you gotten to travel outside of the military? Have you gotten to travel at all? Like outside of the
Um,
country? Or does
no,
that
not
interest you?
outside of the country. It does
Okay.
interest me. I just haven't had the money or the opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's on my bucket list. Now, my wife, she does a lot of traveling.
For
She
work
goes
or just in general?
just in general. She likes to go to visit my daughter out in Seattle. So she's been out there a couple of times this year. And then we have a daughter in Florida, which we both go and see her every now and then. So mostly domestic travel is what I do.
Hmm. You guys have grandkids?
Yeah,
Okay.
got
Bunch of
six grandkids.
bunch of little
No, let me see.
Rays and Raylene's
I
running around.
have one little Ray. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He just turned two just yesterday, and we celebrated his birthday. But he lives close by. He lives in Illinois.
Okay. Yeah, that's
And
go ahead.
but yeah, I have two by my daughter and two by my son. And then my one daughter, she in Seattle, she doesn't have any kids and doesn't want any kids. So
She a professional lady?
yeah, I think so. She just she's trying to find her career. She's got
Yeah.
a good job right now, which I don't think she's going to make it a career, but she's happy where she's at.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't have kids, but like when I've heard specifically like talking to Brian O'Connell, he will like and hearing him talk about his relationship with his grandson, and I'm like, okay, maybe I need to have kids so I can have a grandkid because
Yeah.
just it's cool. And even I guess in my family, I've got there's a big age gap. I'm 29. I've got an 18-year-old sister and a 7-year-old sister, and like specifically, I think getting to experience because I was an adult when my baby sister was born. Getting to
Right.
experience her as a little one and with me being an adult has made me. Before that, I didn't want kids, and now I like the idea of having a mini me run around somewhere. It's like a different phase of life where I'm like, okay, I could see myself doing that. It's
Yeah, it's
cool.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoy being a grandpa. And man, I don't want to be a great grandpa yet, but I've got a teenage grandson, and he just turned what I'm trying to think now, 14. He turns
Okay.
14 this month. Yeah. So goodness, time goes by.
Yeah. How old are you?
I am in 60. I'll be 64.
Okay. Yeah, you would be a very
No, no, no,
young
no.
great grandfather.
60. Geez, I don't even know, Zach. 68. I just
Okay.
turned 68, so I'll be
You were way
69.
off. Oh,
Yeah, I
okay.
was way off. That's that brain damage I had from the stroke.
Yeah.
I just can't remember crap.
Okay. Is that how you lost your sight? Was
Yes,
a
it was
stroke?
through the
Okay.
stroke. Yeah.
I
I was
thought you.
actually at work, working out in South Dakota. I worked for a national painting company. I was
Mhm.
a supervisor for them, and I was working out on the flight line. Um, we did Air Force bases and Army bases. We were painters, and so anyway, I was out there working on that flight line, and I started stumbling around and losing my balance. So my wife made an appointment for me to go see the doctor, get a checkup. I went in and he took my blood pressure and he said, "You got to go to the emergency room right now."
Mm.
So I asked him why. He said, "Your blood pressure is through the roof." I said, "Okay, well." So I drove myself over there, not knowing that I could stroke out any minute. And I get to the emergency room and they immediately admitted me. And I had my first stroke while I was there in the hospital, luckily.
Jeez.
And it wasn't a very bad one. But then I had my second one when I was sitting there waiting to be seen by the doctor again. And that one's the one that really jacked me up.
I know
It,
we've had that conversation before.
yeah,
I just, it's been a while, like we
been
talked
been a
about.
minute. It's been a minute.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah, so it's it was devastating for sure. Mine didn't come like yours, but still, nonetheless, it was devastating. And I went through all those stages of grief and all that stuff, that everybody goes through, and the pity party, why me, Lord, and that kind of thing. But I came out the other side doing okay.
yeah. I don't know. The pity party thing's a tough one because you have to allow yourself that for a period.
Hmm.
But that is the for a period is the key phrase there.
Right,
Like it's I'm temporarily going to let myself be here. I'm going to feel this. I'm going to mourn whatever that was.
right,
Now it's time to pull myself out of that. Like
right.
people get
And I think
stuck in that.
that's part of the healing process too. You have to have that pity party in order to grow and to move on.
Yeah. But people get stuck in that mode
That's
and don't
true.
get to
A lot
that
of
latter
people don't come
phase.
out. They don't come out on the other side.
Yes. And I mean that's dangerous and it can be very toxic. I've met I think everyone's met someone who's been stuck in that. And obviously I was stuck in that while I was drinking. Like that is
Hmm.
I'm not saying that as if I'm better than anyone. I've been there.
Yeah,
But being on the other side of it, I've also met people who are still there and it is just it kind of leaches into your views on the world. Like
yeah.
it's
And there's nothing you or I can do to help them get out of it. You
mm,
just encourage them and set an example by, our actions, and that's all we can do. It just takes
yeah.
time. I think, and every person's different.
Well, that's the hardest thing about all this stuff that we've kind of touched on, whether it's mourning something or someone or addiction or depression. Like it is hard because that at least the initial move does have to come from that person who is struggling.
Right.
Otherwise, that change will not happen if it does not come, if they are not the source of that. Even if it's as simple as just speaking up and saying that I need help, like that move doesn't happen a lot. Obviously, I didn't make that move. That's why I ended up shooting myself. Like
Yeah.
it's a very fine line.
Well, you're over it now, it seems like.
Yeah, hopefully, I was about to make a bad joke, and that was about to be very poorly communicated. So I'm glad I caught myself before I said that. But uh, yeah, I don't know. Life has a way of working itself out, and I really do. It's interesting. I guess I've met a couple people over the past several years I would say it's in the more recent year or two where their perception, even as like, and this, I say this in reference to conversations that I'm having with these people, like
Uh-huh.
just me and them. I think their perception of what it would be like to be in my position is entirely, I guess it comes down to that, like in it's the unknown of it all. You know, you have a perception, like I had never met a blind person until I was blind.
Yeah.
So you think of it as being this horrid thing, and it was for a little bit. Like it was horrid in the beginning when I couldn't do anything for myself, but now I'm very content with my life. I'm in a good place. I'm very fulfilled by the things that I'm doing, and I really, as ridiculous as this sounds, and this is like in these conversations, I have a hard time communicating this because I can tell it's either inferred or they will say it directly, like communicate it's like their horror on my behalf of me being in this situation. And I
Right.
have to communicate like it is not that way for it. This is just, it's normal life now. And especially, I have a hard
It's
time
your
getting, I'm
it's your
curious,
new
like,
normal.
yeah. And like, I'd be curious what your experience with this is I, the fact that I can't see, as ridiculous as this sounds, and I guess other people listening to this are probably mostly blind, so they will probably get it. But the fact that I cannot see a damn thing does not cross my mind very often. It is usually if there is an inaccessible website or something placed in
Right.
front of me that deprives me of my independence. Other than
Uh-huh.
that, it's just, I'm just going through my day. I do not think about it. It's weird. Like, has it been that way for you? Are you at
Well,
that point, or am I a weirdo?
mine's a little different because I do have some sight, you know.
Hmm.
Like I told you before, I don't know if you remember or not, but I can't see anything from below my waist. From my
Okay.
waist down, it's total blackout.
So you have a six pack in your eyes, that's cool.
Yeah. So it's it's a little different. It took a lot of getting used to because from my waist up, the vision is okay, especially when I wear my glasses.
Hmm.
It's fine. It's a little fractured. Like I do see double and I see sometimes triple of what I'm looking at. Or if I, it depends on time of day, lighting, all kinds of stuff. But I could be looking at someone's face and it would look like a Picasso painting where their nose is
Mm.
over here, their eyes are over here, and they're not in the right place. And my brain is trying to swirl it all around to make it right because it knows what the face is supposed to look like.
Yes.
It and the brain is such a cool thing. It will actually put it, stitch it together enough to where I can make out the face, but it's not perfect, you know.
Hmm.
Um, so there's still blank spots there in what I see, and now I've got cataracts. The doctor told me, so that's even worse. Now I've
Nice.
got actual blind spot.
Yeah.
Uh, and again, that's one of the reasons it's called the blind spot, was because there are blind spots in our lives, all of our lives. And so that's why, I named it that.
Yeah. You had a blind spot until you met me, and you feel like I
Yeah.
completed you. Yep.
You complete me. Yeah.
No, I did. I realized as you were, again, I know we've talked about that before. It's been too long.
Yeah.
But I realized maybe I'm a hypocrite a little bit of like in reference to specifically what I had just talked about of like people having, this like horror on my behalf, this misplaced, understandable, but like you're assuming that it's miserable for me. I guess I've I've thought about this a lot. And this comes from having been around a lot of other veterans. Obviously, the total blindness is not very common. It's a lot of, at least in the veteran world, when I meet guys, a lot of it is typically guys losing their vision over
Hmm.
time from a genetic condition.
Right.
And I see, so I guess this, some of this is from seeing some of these guys and gals try and rely on the residual and diminishing residual vision that they have instead of learning the total blindness skills and seeing them almost struggle with that. But I'm thankful for the fact that I lost it all at once because I
Right.
didn't have to deal with a shifting baseline every couple of years and watching it slip
Exactly.
away. Do
And
you
that
feel
does
that
it.
way?
Yeah, it's very hard because you wake up wondering, hey, is this the day that it's going to go down more?
Yeah.
My vision level is going to go down more. Um, and when am I going to be totally blind? And it does weigh on your mind, but you just put that in the back of your mind and you move on. You do what you can do until it happens. But
Have
yeah,
you made, go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, go ahead.
Have you made a point to lean into learning the skills for when you are totally blind, even though you don't need them now?
I know I should, but no, I haven't.
Okay.
I tried to use voiceover,
Yeah.
but it's just too annoying for me. The clutter and it just messes with my brain.
It's a big learning curve too.
Yeah,
Like
it is.
yeah.
And when you speed it up, so you can, like I've noticed all you guys that are using it that are totally blind, that lady just, I mean, the voice just
Yeah.
talks like that, and it's
Yeah.
like, holy cow, how do you hear that? But you're so focused in on it that I'm sure you get it, but someone else that's listening to it, it's like, oh man, that's just so much chatter.
It's gibberish. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gibberish to the point of gibberish. Yeah. But for those of you out there that don't know what we're talking about, if you have an iPhone, try VoiceOver one time and you'll know what we're talking about.
Which is all, if you're really unfamiliar with what we're talking about, is screen reading software. So
Yes,
that's how people with no vision can use phones and computers, but also people with low vision can use it too to
right.
compensate for in different areas and stuff like that. But it's yeah, man, that's something I try and harp on with people, especially these days. I get it. It is a pain in the butt. Learning screen reading software, I use basically three different screen readers. I know
Mhm.
JAWS on my PC, I know VoiceOver on the Mac, and I know VoiceOver on an iPhone/iPad, which is very different than using it on a Mac. It's like
Yeah.
very, very different, even
Yeah,
though
the
it has
Mac
the
is
same thing.
a creature all of its own.
Yeah. But it's the time investment and the learning curve of all of them was tremendous, but it is also those are the biggest facilitators of my independence.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah.
I mean, if I hadn't got an iPhone when this happened through the BVA, I tell you, I'd be lost because I don't think my Android would have handled all this stuff, the screen readers and stuff.
Yeah, it's not as accessibilities, or I guess the screen reader support's not as good on there. And also it's hard software like that. The App Store is more popular than the Play Store. So you will typically have more access to different solutions on an iPhone than you will on
Hmm.
on Android. And I don't know, it's like everything. There's a trade-off, and obviously there's preferences and stuff, but I just urge people listening to lean into that, as big of a pain in the butt as it is. Like, learn these different access technologies and
Right,
just learn, again, it's like anything, it's going to take a long time, but like start learning something and get that momentum going because it will
right.
change your life.
Well, like I said, I had to learn to do it, um, to use different ways of doing this so I could do my podcast.
Yeah.
Um, and when I got all these devices from the BVA, or not from the BVA, but from the VA, um, the BRC, Blind
Yeah.
Rehab Center, um, I had to learn how to use them and how I could use them to do this podcast. And so there was a big learning curve there because I had never used an iPhone before and or a iPad. I was always a Android person. But yeah, a learning curve, but I got through it, and now I'm learning as I go. I just got this Mac computer last year,
Okay.
and I had a, PC desktop before,
Yeah.
which was Windows based, and I was more familiar with that. So that was an easy transition for me to go from being visual to non-visual using that, and then switching over to the Mac. It was a little different, but I'm getting it now. I edit all my own podcasts that on YouTube
Yeah.
through the Mac.
What do you use software wise for that?
I use iMovie.
Okay.
Yeah, I enjoy using it. It's I'm just learning how to do some really nice stuff with it, but there's things I don't like about it that I wish they had, or maybe it's there, I just don't know about it. But yeah, I mean, it's what do you use?
So, well, I want to ask you a question real quick first.
Okay,
With iMovie, when you're editing in there, are you using a screen reader or are you using your vision?
I'm using my Vision.
Okay, that's where I was curious because I just started. I think I just started doing video episodes. So I think like
Uh-huh.
episode 53 maybe. So episode 52 comes out tomorrow. It's either episode 53 or 54 was the first video one. So like those will now be released on YouTube, and then all the audio only stuff will still be released everywhere that you can get podcasts. But I was curious, being able to just trim stuff off the beginning and the end where, okay, I pushed the play button and then we didn't talk for 3 seconds or something like that would be
Yeah,
nice for an iMovie. But for all the audio stuff, because I add music and stuff like that to
yeah,
the audio only versions and clean up the audio. I don't edit the conversations, but I use Audacity, and I have to
right,
use that on a PC because it's not totally accessible on the Mac. So
right.
it's
That's
just,
the problem with the Mac. There's only a few programs out there that will support um, converting your, podcast or whatever into the finished product. So it's hard to find something that'll work with everything when you have no sight.
yeah. And I mean, having a podcast is an incredible amount of work anyways, without
Hmm.
having to jump through the hoops. So
Totally.
it's, I don't know, you figured it out. That's like I've figured out my kind of pipeline for things, and now it's as smooth as it can be. Both the videos gonna throw a new wrench into things, but
Well, it's a new learning curve for you.
yeah, and it's just a means of finding something that works, really,
Yeah.
is once I do, then I'll be good. But
Yeah, I went through, I don't know how many different software iterations that I went through before I landed on the one I use. But, I went to Spotify first and it was free. And that's another thing. All these other ones you have to pay for. And I don't like paying for something that you can get for free.
yeah,
So, so I used Spotify for a while to do my podcast. And then they discontinued that and went to Spotify for podcasters, which was a pay thing. And it went through another, can't remember now what it's called, but
host.
no, yeah, another host, but I can't remember the name of the host that they used.
Okay.
But anyhow, I didn't want to pay $15 a month for that one. Um, and so I tried to find something free. And so now I'm using Zoom. I record everything on Zoom and then I transfer it over into iMovie.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's more steps, but it's something I can do. And it was a shorter learning curve. And that's the main thing is everything you do, it takes a learning curve. And, just
Yeah, and
takes a
that's
while to get used to it.
yeah, it's all figuring out that like whatever pipeline works for things is always the
Hmm.
worst part. And then once you have the system figured out, it's great until someone changes a code base somewhere and now one of those
Yeah,
apps is inaccessible and you're like, no.
right.
Yeah.
or your iPhone will update your iPhone and you lose certain features and
Yes.
it's crazy. Or you lose your passwords and you have to remember what you put in there.
Yep. It's always
I got
stuff like that.
passwords for every, I'm sure you do too, for every app that you've done. And I don't like to use the same password all the time because that just opens you up for hackers. And I don't write them down, which I should. But yeah, it's crazy. Oh, and like, do you use a book reader for reading books?
When you say book reader, what do you mean?
I mean,
I typically just use audiobooks.
yeah, audiobooks. What do you use?
Hmm.
Like, you use
Use
Audible or
use Audible and Bard.
yeah, Bard.
Yep.
Um, Bard changed the way they're doing things now. I just got an email last month that they're changing all their entries and logins and all that kind of stuff. So now when I go to my Bard, it wants me to put in my password that I put in 3 years ago. I don't remember that, so and I don't want to do a new one because then I'll have shoot. When we were out there in Arizona, I went through a thing with Bard and I had to do my password 3 times. So
Yes.
I had to redo it 3 times, 3 different ones. They won't let you do the same one or even one that's close to the one you did before. So you have to come up with a whole new password. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's hard. And it's government software.
Yeah.
It's an awesome thing once it's working, but like
Oh
it's
yeah.
not
When it's working,
designed
it's
the
great.
best. Yeah. So yeah, I
I
don't
was
know,
going to
man.
ask you something else just now and I forgot. Oh, such is the life of a brain
We
damaged person.
we were talking about podcast stuff and then we started talking about audiobooks.
Oh
Does
yeah.
that help?
And then I was going to say something about Bard. So I guess we covered it.
Hmm. Must not have been that important.
It wasn't. Or it was a lie. That's what my mom used to say. If you can't
Yeah.
remember it, it was a lie.
Yeah.
So tell me what's the next step for you? What's coming up?
I will, I mean, I'll continue working on this software and the book will probably come out around the same time. I think the software will be out in faster than a year, but I think the timeline for the book will be around a year. So maybe the software will be around that. That's the hard thing with software design, especially something of this scale that I'm working on. Like
Uh-huh.
it's so hard to guess a timeline. It's just because you think you've built something out and then you realize you need to add another feature, and that can be another month of work to add that one feature. And then that adds this kind of you have to come back to where you were at before and then integrate it. And it's this very like meandering kind of process. So I'm guessing a year-ish in both will probably be out, but we'll see. It's been a lot of that. I will continue doing the podcast again, starting to do a lot more speaking and stuff like that. And
Cool. So where do you speak, basically? I mean, what places have you spoke at and what do you have lined up in the future?
I was just down at, well, I guess so. Last November, I spoke at a huge tech conference at the Game Accessibility Conference in front of a bunch of, they do it every year. All like the big AAA game development companies come in for a conference specifically around accessibility. And that was right after, I guess that was almost a year after I won the awards for Xanagram. So they
Hmm.
had me, I got to present there. I've been doing more stuff at different nonprofits. I just spoke down at the Redford Ranch Foundation does a smoke on the water event every year. So I got to like judge barbecue and then be the guest speaker at
Nice.
their event and stuff like that. I spoke at Project Healy Waters recently. I've got some other stuff in the works here that should be panning out here in the next couple months. And it's cool. It's another thing where I used to not be able to talk about any of this stuff even in private, whether it was stuff with my ex-wife cheating on me, which played with some of the personal circumstances that I touched on earlier, or shooting myself was definitely something that I couldn't talk about. And
Right.
it's been cool over the years getting to the point where I can talk about it, and especially now most of the time when I get to speak somewhere, someone comes up to me afterwards and is either going through one of the things that I discussed and is communicated like, okay, this is what I needed to hear to go get help, or has, lost someone to suicide and realized like,
Hmm.
okay, that wasn't my fault that they're gone, or had it's occasionally there's tears, and that's a weird one because crying makes me uncomfortable, but it's cool to see like something positive is coming out of it, and that
Right.
is helping people, and that's, I don't know, it's been neat. So
Well, I noticed you deflect a lot of things with humor to keep yourself from getting too emotional,
yeah,
which
and
is a
that's,
good thing, I think. It's a nice way to cope, I think, using humor.
I think it's important, and that's the interesting thing is like if I'm speaking, I can't do that because it's not a conversation. So like I'll cry about stuff that I thought I was okay with, and that's not my favorite thing, crying in front of people, but it's, it is what it is, and
Yeah.
so
Well, I
I think
think
it's healing.
you'll be forgiven. I mean,
Yeah.
I always tell my kids when I used to make jokes about being blind after this happened, and because I was totally blind when it first happened
Hmm.
for about a month, I think. I don't know. I was in and out. My brain,
Just
um,
a mess. Yeah.
yeah, it was just totally jumbled up. And so all those nerves were trying to heal themselves. And so I was totally blind. I couldn't see a thing. And that was really scary. So I imagine when you woke up after you shot yourself in the hospital, you woke up and you were pretty scared,
I
right?
was actually initially I was so out of it when they brought me off of life support that I didn't even know I was blind. I was
Oh, wow.
that messed up from the brain injury and probably all the medications that I was on
Uh-huh.
that I could have a conversation with you like I'm having right now, but I was off in la la land I was seeing these very vivid hallucinations of nonsensical settings that I was in. And so I thought I was there for I think it was a couple weeks. I don't remember the timeline obviously because I was so out of it, and
Hmm.
now it's been so long that it's not something that like comes up in conversation a lot unless it's stuff like this. But
Right.
it's, yeah, it was, I was also a mess. So it was,
Yeah.
and I was so busy. It was, I had to relearn how to do everything
Oh,
from
yeah. I know. I had to
feeding
learn how to
myself and
walk
all
and
that stuff.
talk and
Yeah. So like I don't think I didn't have that much time to be scared early on because I was so busy while I was in the hospital. I started to struggle after once
hmm.
I was out and like the pace of life slowed down, but
Right.
not initially.
Yeah, it was um I want to say a shock, but it wasn't a shock as much as it was just different,
Yeah, you
I was
don't
so
know
used I was so
anything.
used to being so physical and doing things for myself. Driving was the one thing I really miss. Um, but you get used to it. Hey,
Yeah.
have you met Kiwan Amy? Have you met him?
What is his name?
Kiwan Amy?
No. Where's he from?
He is from down south somewhere, Mississippi, I think.
Okay.
But he was an Air Force veteran who became blind through a motorcycle accident. So he had a TBI, and just he's a pretty cool guy. He's a speaker, a motivational speaker now, and he goes
Okay.
around all over the United States uh, telling his story.
That's cool.
But I thought maybe you might want to interview him sometime. I can send you his information if you're interested in.
Okay. Yeah, we can talk about it offline.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sounds good. Um, so anyway, let's start wrapping this thing up. Anything else you want to talk about?
I don't think so. I feel like we kind of covered
Well,
everything. I know we
it,
didn't discuss what we were going to talk about, so I feel I don't we haven't missed anything because we didn't have a plan.
no, I talked to Zach prior to this meeting here, and I said, "What do you want to talk about?" I don't know. What do you want to talk about? He said, "It's your podcast. What do you want to talk about?" I
Yeah.
said, "Well, I don't know. I was going to leave it up to you."
Yeah. So
I said, "Well, let's just do two guys talking." So that was the plan,
here we are.
and here we are, still two guys talking. So how can people reach you if they want to get in touch with you? I'll put it
The
up on the screen
Okay.
in
I've
post
got
off.
my website is zacktidwell.com. That's
Okay.
Zulu Alpha Charlie Hotel Tango India Delta Whiskey Echo Lima.com. If you Google me, you'll find me on social media, and the podcast is Going In Blind with Zack Tidwell. Again, not blindness related. It's just a play on words. But yeah.
Because you went into it blind,
Yeah, that's the idea is going in,
literally and
go,
figuratively.
you're going into it blind. So yeah.
He'd never done a podcast before, so he went in blind.
Yeah. So it's been cool. Those
Yeah,
are kind of the big areas. I'm all over the place. I've got we skimmed over stuff. I've got more of a summary on me on the website. And also, if that interests you, then there's a mailing list where you can sign up to get news about the book. It is not, you will not get hammered with emails. It will just be announcements with when that is coming to market and different, different deals for pre-ordering and all that stuff.
cool. All right, folks, that's going to be it for this episode. I do want to mention that you can find us on Spotify, Google, and anywhere you get your podcasts. You can find The Blind Spot by Ray Morales. And I do appreciate if you will give a like and a comment to this episode here, because that's what YouTube will base um, my preferences on, the demographics and stuff that will help them to promote my podcast. So please, and if you'd like to donate, please do. You can donate to my Venmo account. That's the Blind Spot Podcast, or it's at the Blind Spot Podcast on Venmo. So other than that, I think we're done. Zach, thank you again. I appreciate you, buddy. And like I said, if you ever need a guest, I know guys available anytime. So
All right.
call me on
Yeah.
short notice if you need a fill in. Okay.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, man. It was good to catch up.
It is good. I appreciate you, and I can't wait to see you again in person. Folks, go visit his website or his podcast. He does some great stuff out there. I really enjoy the guest speakers that he's had, and it's just he's got a fantastic story. And Zach, I don't know how to say I appreciate you so much.
I appreciate you too, man. I'm glad we were able to cross paths a year and a
Exactly.
half ago now. Yeah.
But
Sounds
it's
weird.
good that I call you my friend, you know?
Yes, sir.
And so anyway, folks, this has been another episode of The Blind Spot by Ray Morales.